This
management. So I'll
conference
let you
will
know
now be recorded.
what I learned from software asset management for nearly 3 years out of my experience. Okay, so software asset management, it's something like when you start a company. I want to put this into a like practical one so that it'll be easy for you to understand. So when you start a company, you have nearly 100 employees. For that, you'll be having 100 desktops, 100 laptops, like according to the requirements, according to the people who are working in the company, you'll be purchasing the stuffs, right? Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, Balaji.
Yeah. So according to that, you'll be purchasing the stuffs. And you know, in certain company, when you work on certain company, I think they will be having certain software for each and every computer. Maybe an antivirus software, maybe maybe something called Zoom can be used in all the computers, right? So they will
Yeah.
be having certain software mandatory for all the employees. For example, maybe if you're working as a document specialist, you'll be having a MS Word for sure. Like according to your job description, you'll be having the softwares as well in the computer, and they have the employees. For me, like I was working in a company, and I have no the Symantec antivirus, which is installed in all the computers to give protection. So these softwares, it's not like there are certain softwares which are open source. You can just directly download it and you can use it, like Google Chrome or like Mozilla Firefox, like a browser or certain things like that. But for certain software, you can't use it without having a subscription or without having a license or certain things like that, right? So what companies do is exactly they purchase mostly not one or two, but for example, maybe if take an antivirus product as an instance, so they purchase nearly like 1,000 licenses directly from a antivirus product, and those 1,000 licenses will be managed through the portal, through the cloud portal. And not only that, those licenses will be managed in the ServiceNow portal as well. So we have to be aware when we like purchase a license. For example, when you're purchasing today for 1 year, so in that next year the license will be getting you know I'm sorry, the license should be getting renewed for the next year, right? So it should be proper enough so that all the employees will be having that protection for sure. 100% protection for sure in all the computers. So that's when software asset management comes in place. So this software asset management, it's something like managing the software which is inside the computer, maybe by having the number of licenses with them and having the number of software already. So they will be differentiating two things. First thing, the number of license they purchased and the number of software they used. So most probably they want to keep these two things as same as possible, because when you purchase a lot of software and you're not using it, then it's a loss for the company, right? And when you purchase very like little about, like maybe a 50 or like 100 softwares in a year, and you have nearly 1,000 computers, and you can't cope that 50 antivirus software into those 100,000 computers or like 2,000 computers. So it's not possible. So you should be having the record same as possible, and then only you can manage things. Maybe a little bit 5 or 10 softwares, or maybe can be high or low. That's not a difference. That's not a problem. But you should have these uh, two things equally. It's like having the compliance. So that's when you'll be having a proper compliance. Okay, so that's when software asset management comes in place. So it's like managing something from ServiceNow side, managing of software with the number of license they have, with number of discovery they did. For us, we know. As I am the owner of the company, I know how many softwares I purchased. I'll be having the documents with it, maybe an online document. So when I purchase something called an antivirus, maybe I purchase not an antivirus, so I purchase under licenses. So once I purchase under licenses, they'll be giving me a bill for it. So I'll be having that bill with me. So I have a proof of purchasing under licenses. And one more thing is, but we don't know how many computers are already there in the system and how many computers they need antivirus, how many computers they already have an antivirus. And that's when software asset management comes in as well, because they will be having a data called discovery data. So you know about discovery, right? So when we do a discovery, you will be the applications, the software applications will be getting discovered directly. So once it's getting discovered, they will be having, I mean, the software applications, they will be having a count of how many applications are there and how many licenses are there. They'll be having a count inside with the discovery, and we will be having a count with the billing side as well. So they'll be comparing each and every things and seeing how it is managed exactly. So they should be having those two things as same as possible, so that they should they won't be having any loss for the company. So could you understand this, Hardik and Bindu? You have any doubts?
Yeah, Balaji, we are good.
I'm fine.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So that's when software asset management comes in place, and you have to like you have to learn certain strategies, learn certain things to understand software asset management even more in a better way. So what is a software model? Software model is something like a software which has a model, maybe like a model of the software which is in purchasable, but you can use it for like maybe a 10 or 20 days, and from that you can assume what kind of a source it is and what kind of things it will be delivering as well. And the second thing would be the software entitlement. Software entitlement is it's
I
something
have a
which
doubt here.
enables. Yes, Bindu.
Yeah. The software model we have, like when we see in our application navigator or in an instance, we see a lot of software models which is tied up to some catalog items and different CIs, I guess
Yes,
so.
that's the one, you're right. Yeah.
So, like, what is it again? Like, are they like CIs?
I mean, software models are created as a part of asset management process. Yeah, you can create product
Okay.
models for software from like product catalog, and it's used to purchase software rights with discovered software installations. So
Okay.
anyways, it is considered as a CI. Yes, when you take that as an, I mean, like, however, it's like how you see it. So if you see it from a table, from a CMDB table, we are populating those data, then it's one of the CIs. Yes.
Okay. So, do
Okay.
we have some out of the box software models by default when we get SAM, or everything we are going to develop as per our requirement?
No. They have like a lot of out of the box models inside already, and they have a lot of concepts attached inside already. So most probably when you look at SAM, when you get some certain projects, you don't have to develop or like do new things with SAM. It will be already there. Most probably 90% of the things what we expect from software asset management will be already there in ServiceNow. So as I've worked on projects, so I'm just letting you know, it'll be already there. In certain cases, we need to do certain like little bit here and there. We need to do certain uh, customizations to get what we want.
Okay.
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 Okay. So let's get into software entitlement. Software entitlement, it's like it enables you to define the people or machines to which a specific purchased software license is assigned. So by using software entitlement, we can do a lot of things. I mean, like creating an entitlement for software asset management plugin. We can create software entitlement for both CIs and the users from the same license entitlement form. So creating a software user license entitlement, and you have something called entitle a license to a CI. So you can do it in both ways. First one, we can consider the model as a CI and we can give an entitlement for it, or we can consider that as a license and we can give an entitlement for it as well. Okay.
Giving
All
entitlement,
right. Perfect.
it's
So
like means like what are we stating it as?
it's like giving an entitlement in a sense when you purchase. I mean, when you purchase a software, So we have the bill of purchasing a software. For example, when you purchase an antivirus software, okay, so we have the bill of we purchased a certain software, and I have nearly 100 licenses with it. But the computer or the service now doesn't know how many, I mean, be that no we are purchased under licenses. They will only know by means of discovery.
Okay.
So once you run a discovery, the software applications will be getting discovered in the exploration phase, in the 4th phase. So once you
Okay.
get into discovery, there will be 4 phases. In the 4th phase, the install applications will be getting like discovered. Okay. So for example, like I'm discovering a computer, and the computer
Okay.
has 10 applications. Okay. So those 10 applications will be getting a software entitlement once the discovery is run.
Okay.
And these 10 applications will be compared to whatever we purchased. I mean, for example, when we have 10 in, I mean, when I take 10 applications in a sense, maybe we have antivirus product, we have Zoom, we have a lot of no other applications which is in use for the employee. Okay. So
Okay.
those 10 applications, we'll be checking that with software asset management that it has a valid license or not, and it like how many years the license are there. So managing those, I mean, I'll be maybe letting you know in a simple way, so it'll be easy for you. So managing those licenses, for example, when you when you own a company and you have purchased under licenses for antivirus, and you
Okay.
need to use it correctly for all those computers. You can't waste that license because it's of it's not easy. I mean, it's not free. It's a like we purchased it with money. So if we don't use it properly, then it's a loss for the company, right? So
Yeah.
managing those two things. The first thing would be managing the number of licenses which we purchased versus managing, I mean, installing the number of applications. So it's not like we will be having no these two things same as always, because you know maybe for first month we have under desktops, for second month we are purchasing under laptops and hiring new people. For example, we are doing it. So for first month we have 100 applications, that's enough, yeah, because we have only 100 desktops. But in the second month we need 100 more applications for hiring, I mean, as we are hiring new people, right? So then we will be purchasing the extra more under licenses, and it will be getting recorded in service now. It won't be, that is not only getting recorded, but also the valid date of when it will getting purchased and when it will be getting validated. So we'll be getting an email or warning or certain things like that. So maybe if it's getting the subscription is going to end in 3 days, then we will be getting an email from ServiceNow that it's going to end in 3 days, that we need to purchase a new subscription. So these things are managed by ServiceNow with a model called software asset management. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
So
all this process comes under the entitlement.
no, all these process comes under like software asset management. Entitlement, in a sense, it enables you, I told you, right, I mean, to define the software, how to say it in a, yeah. So service, I mean, we know when we purchase the license, we know that we have purchased the license because we have the bill, but ServiceNow doesn't know that, right? So for them to know it, so we have to give a software an entitlement, something like an entitlement, so that it will be stored as something we purchased from ServiceNow. So from ServiceNow's
Okay.
language, it will be, I mean, once you give an entitlement to a software, then it's considered as one, we have purchased one software. So that's
Okay,
how,
for
that's when
whatever we have
we do it.
purchased, we are making sure that the service now, the SAM is getting recognized by, it is recognizing that particular software, and so
Yes,
that is
yes.
called entitlements.
Yes, you're right. I mean, so once we get an entitlement, so once you have a software with an entitlement, then ServiceNow will be recognizing that software as I'm sorry, SAM. I mean, software asset management will be recognizing that software, and they will be creating a license for it as well. So we'll be manually entering all those license details, everything with it. Because why we do an entitlement, maybe we can just directly when you discover an application, you can ask me, maybe when you discover an application, you can directly mark that as mark that as an software which is purchased or which is licensed. Why you need an entitlement for it? Yeah, you can ask me this question, but you know, there are like a lot of softwares which is free, and there are a lot of softwares which is, I mean, which needs money. Maybe for example, when you use application called Zoom, it's not of free. You need to like purchase Zoom for a year or so, and then you can use it for a year or so, right? But not all the applications are the same. For example, maybe if you're purchasing an antivirus application, then it's cost according to the value the antivirus like application is there. But when you maybe you want to download Google Chrome, it's free. Google Chrome is open source. So whatever you said, I mean, like when you discover a software and when you give entitlement to all the software in the computer, then it's a then it's confusion for us, and that's why we give entitlement to the software on which only we purchased it. If we purchase the software, we can give the entitlement to the software. So it will be like we won't be getting confused between the purchased software as well as from the free software. So do you understand it?
Yeah, but we have to identify it manually.
No, it's like everything is in automation.
Okay. We run a
Yeah, you do
discovery
not have
and
to
we
do it
come to know the
manually.
differences.
I'm sorry.
When we run a discovery, like you told in the phase 4 or something, when we run a discovery, then we can system be able to identify which are the free ones and which are the paid ones.
Yeah, I mean, we will be giving the entitlements before. I mean, from SAM, it's actually software asset management and discovery is like a little bit interrelated. Okay, so once you install SAM into the computer, they will be giving entitlements to the software which are purchased already. So
Okay.
once it gives the entitlement, we know that the software is purchased and it's not free. Then we will be doing a discovery. So once we do a discovery, we know how many softwares are there and what are the valid period for that software, and when we need to get like resubscribe those softwares to get the application running properly for next year. Okay.
Okay, so got it. So when you install the SAM, it directly gives the entitlement when we request for it, and based on that, again we run a discovery to identify further details.
Yes, perfect. So we don't give entitlements to all the softwares. We give entitlements to only the software which is purchased.
Which are purchased. Okay.
Yeah, which has special attention, maybe purchased, because free softwares you can't you don't have to manage free softwares anyways, it's free. So it's not a, I mean, if it's getting uninstalled, it's not a loss for a company, right? So anyway, it's not concerned much. Yeah. And we have something called software allocation. Software allocation, in a sense, it has two types. First one is user allocation. Second one is a device allocation. Okay. So I'll take two softwares as consideration now, one for user allocation and one for device allocation. Okay. Fine. For user allocation, you can use a software called Zoom. For Zoom, when you purchase a software, you will be having your credentials. For example, maybe I'm telling you purchase Zoom, and you'll be having certain credentials for it to logging in Zoom, to use it. I mean, to use that Zoom for 1 year, right? And you can use that login for each and every computer, not only in one computer. You can use that in any computer, right? Yeah. So that is called user allocation. So once you purchase it for a user, you can use that software for any computers. It's not only, it is not only limited to this device, or like it's not limited to that device. So you can use in any computers. That's what it's called, user allocated. But you have something called an antivirus called Symantec. For example, I'll take Symantec as an example. It is not user allocated, it is device allocated. You can use this software only in this computer. Maybe when you purchase those 100 softwares in 100 computers, you can use those in 100 computers, but you need to purchase those 100 applications. For example, when you want to use Zoom, you have to purchase only one license, and you can use that Zoom in all those computers, right? But when you purchase an antivirus, you can't purchase one antivirus. You have to purchase 100 antivirus to use that in 100 applications, because it depends upon the use which they have. Antivirus is completely different. It gives protection to the computer, but Zoom, it's like a software in which you can make a video call or make a video meeting or certain things like that. So it depends upon the software, you do allocation as well. So user allocation is possible, device allocation is also possible in software asset management. Okay, so could you understand this?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Addik, I mean, you have any questions? At any point of time, if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll be happy to help you with it. Okay,
Sure.
thank you. So I think you're clear until now, right?
I mean, I have worked on the hardware side, so it's the same thing what we have on hardware side: hardware model, hardware entitlement,
Yeah, I mean,
allocation,
it's most probably
admin.
like same.
Okay, yeah.
We use that as a software model, right? I mean, like when we take an example like a Zoom or something like that, where you will be having certain license purchased and license. I mean, you'll be having certain applications, and you'll be having those license details in the service now. As same, when you take hardware like something like a mouse or like a desktop, you'll be having the same information for in the hardware side as well. So that's what hardware asset management is. But you know, when you get inside, you'll be having a lot of concepts relating that to a lot of models inside, like discovery, service mapping, certain things like that. That will be much useful when you start working on and start managing softwares from inside. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the next part, which is called software discovery. So what I told you about that. So discovery, in a sense, when you start, initiate the discovery, in the fourth phase, you'll be like having the list of applications getting discovered in the ServiceNow table. So that's when you'll be knowing how many softwares are there in the computer, how many softwares are purchased, how many softwares are not purchased, and it's free. Okay. All right. So let's get into software normalization. Let's first get into software reconciliation, and then I'll talk to you about normalization. So software reconciliation in a sense, it's like automated license reconciliations, keeps license positions accurate and up to date without manual calculations. Reconciliation runs weekly or on demand. Reconciliation is, in a sense, it's like a scan. It's a scan which is done between two things. The first thing is how many softwares you purchased and how many softwares you used. So this scan will be done as a software reconciliation. So once it's same, or once it's like a little bit of a same value, then it's fine. If it's like differs in like most probably in a bigger way, then we need to look into the softwares which are using, and if they are not using much software, we need to delete. I mean, we need to uh, delete all those applications that are not in use, and maybe which won't be a loss to the company, or if they want a new software, when we can add that as well. So we have two options out of it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So let's get into software remediation. Remediation, in a sense, it's like a simple thing. It's you know deleting the softwares which is not in use. For example, when you
Deleting.
install a software, yeah, deleting in a sense, removing the removing the software or removing the application which are not in use.
Decommissioning.
Yeah, something like that as well. Yes. So for example, when you start a company and you'll be having you working there for nearly 1 year, and you know how many softwares are used, and when you start in the second year, so the same software which is used in the first year, it won't be used in the second year. Like it will be getting developed, or it will be getting maybe replaced or something like that. Maybe for example, in the first year we'll be using Zoom. In the second year, maybe if it's registered cast, maybe you'll be going for GoToMeetings, or you'll be using BlueJeans or certain things like that. It depends upon the manager's priority of what we should buy, or like what we should not buy. So we have something called Zoom that will be already in the computer which is not in use. So we should remediate those applications directly in the second year, and that's when software remediation comes into place. Okay.
Okay. I think we skipped normalization, Balaji.
Yeah, normalization I'll get into now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, normalization is something like it has to be normalized discovered software that was not fully normalized, but partially it was normalized on a software discovery model form so that it can be reconciled. You have some softwares which isn't like normally working for some reasons. Maybe they have some problems with inside, or they have some problems with like a lot of errors in it. Maybe I have gone through this kind of situation a lot of times in antivirus. Like when you install an antivirus product, I mean, in one computer it will work properly, but in other computer it won't work properly. You have like a lot of issues, like certain things like you can't fix firewall issues, or you'll be having certain things with policy things. I mean, policy exchange or certain things like that. So I mean, repairing the software and making it normal, it's called software normalization. So once we do the normalization method, then we can reconcile it, and we can take the notes of how many softwares we purchased and how many software it is used. Okay.
So
Understood it?
normalization is about fixing the default softwares and using it again.
Yeah, fixing the default errors in the software and like discovering it again.
Yeah. And discovering it again. Okay.
Yeah, discovering, I mean, why we do a discovery, in a sense, once we do a discovery, it will be coming into place, and we need to check these two things to maintain the complaints. So like mostly software asset management, the main important thing of like asset management is maintaining the compliance. Because
Okay.
maybe when we talk about this, maybe in a small company, when you have like only 100 employees or 200 employees, it's okay if you purchase one or two softwares more. But when you use a company, when you work in a company who has like 1 lakh 10 lakh employees, when we purchase something like even like 5,000 or like 10,000 applications more, then it's a big loss for the company, right? So
Yeah.
managing those complaints is the main important part of software asset management. So the number of number of softwares we bought and the number of softwares we installed and we are using it as well. If some softwares in some computers not getting used, then it will be getting remediated by software remediation. In
Okay.
some in some computers, some softwares, I mean, if they have errors, then it will be getting normalized by software normalization. So these methods will be studying in deep to get those software asset management. I mean, to get those software, to manage how much our software we purchase, we can manage those through ServiceNow in software asset management, while we have those these kind of things with hand. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Bindu and Adik. So that's all from my side. So I just want to let you know these things so that like when you start with software asset management, it will be easy for you. So you have any other questions, you can ask me, or else we'll finish up this
Yeah, I do have one, Balaji.
Yes.
Actually, you told about entitlement and discovery, right? We are going to identify the softwares which are costable and which are not costable.
Yes.
Using the entitlements, we are going to
Yeah.
identify, and then we are going to discover it further.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to give an sign or something like that. Maybe a sign of no. Yes, I mean, whatever you said was correct. Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to identify and we are going to discover it. Again, what the discovery does, again, it checks if that is a purchased one or a free one. Is that right? Then what is the difference
Yes.
between those two? What is separate functionality they are doing?
Discovery is something, it's completely different. I mean, software discovery, it's something which comes up with discovery module. It will be you have a lot of things inside the discovery part. Why we are discovering it, in a sense, maybe I'll let you know certain things. I mean, have you went through a like discovery module in ITOM?
Not much.
Okay. So I was talking about discovery in a sense. Discovery, we have a model called discovery.
Yeah.
In ServiceNow.
Yeah.
So that discovery model, it's like little bit related to software asset management. So
Okay.
other than that, we don't have anything. So I mean, we don't have anything related to software discovery. So what I meant about discovery was, so when you do a discovery is a normal thing. When you do it, when you initiate it from ServiceNow, it will be discovering whatever applications which are there inside the computer. For example, when you have a company with 100 employees with 100 computers, when you initiate a discovery for 100 computers, it will be normally discovering those 100 computers and will be getting those information in hand. So we'll be having a table of 100 computers, and whatever the serial number they add, whatever the IP address they have, whatever the MAC address they have, whatever the applications which are installed inside in it, will be getting populated by discovery. That's a complete different model. So you have lot of things regarding discovery. But why we need to do a discovery here in a sense, to get that software as a purchased one. As I told you, when we do a discovery only, we'll be knowing that there's a software called Zoom inside a customer's computer, right?
Okay.
So until or unless we can't let ServiceNow know about that, we have to do a discovery to know, to let ServiceNow know about this.
Okay.
Yeah, we can manually type the data, like something like we have purchased 50 applications, we have used 50 applications, but we can't do it for each and every computer, right? It's a big hell, it's like a big headache for us then. So
Yeah.
we have to automate it by connecting this discovery part with software asset management. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when software discovery comes in place. So software discovery, it's something, it's a complete different model, which comes under ITOM.
Okay.
I gave you a soft description of discovery now. No, for you to understand what is software asset management exactly.
Okay. So even in terms of SAM, we are going to discover all the applications in our instance and what we are holding, and we are going.
No, not that. As I told you, discovery is a part of software asset management. Discovery is a completely different model. We are not going to discover anything. I am going to explain each and every situations about this in a lab. We'll be having lab sessions every day. We'll be talking more about SAM only practically in lab. Most probably in the training session we'll be talking only practically, not theoretical. I don't want to bore you much with theoretical knowledge, because when you go to software like ServiceNow docs, you can easily read that through, and it'll be very much understandable. But the things which I want to give you is like practical knowledge, in which you can
Yeah.
learn a lot of things practically, and you can work it on the projects as well. So when we start a training session, I'll be letting you know certain concepts, and I'll be teaching you those concepts practically, so that it will be understandable for you. So these everything, the software model, software entitlement, software allocation, discovery, everything will be taught to you practically. So how it is done,
Mm-hmm.
why it is done, and when it is done, everything. Okay.
Okay.
As I don't have
Because
much
the
time.
theoretical part, it is bit confusing. Actually, it doesn't settle to one definition.
Yes, it's completely it's a little bit vague here, the theoretical part. Maybe when I start working on practical part, then it'll be easy for you to understand. That's why I don't want to keep a lot of theoretical sessions, but in a demo I can't teach you a lot of practical things, because even before getting into practical, we need to normally know about these concepts, then only we can understand the practical things. And that's why I started with this now. Sorry if I bored you so much, because I don't have options. I have to talk to you about these things. So once I teach you practically about these concepts, then it'll be easy for you to understand. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So we'll be doing each and everything: entitlement, allocation, discovery, normalization, in each and every classes.
Okay. So all these topics cover the setup and complete life cycle as well.
No. We have a lot of other topics as well. So you have something called, this is software asset management. Okay.
Mm.
we have something called hardware asset management. We have certain topics under hardware asset management as well. So we will be covering those topics as well through practical knowledge. So moreover, my training sessions will be 90% practical, 10% theoretical, because I don't want to bore you guys. I know, like when we talk about things, it will be getting so much boring. No, like you should be aware of each and every word which I'm speaking. So when you have a practical knowledge, then you can speak the theoretical knowledge with your own words, right? That's a win-win
Yeah.
situation for both of us.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's it, Bindu. So you have any questions, Hardik?
So are we going to touch hardware, software, anything else besides hardware and software?
I'm sorry.
Are we going to cover anything else besides hardware and software?
No, I mean, we'll be covering these two: hardware asset management, software asset management. That's it.
And what about ATF?
If you need something, we can start doing it. I mean, you want me to like handle other things? I mean, what did you say? I mean, I couldn't understand. ATF?
I think ATFs, automated test frameworks, right, Hardik?
Yes. So
Okay, okay. ATF. Okay.
once we do the software asset management and hardware asset management, then we try to automate them. So that's what all the companies are looking for right now.
Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem. Anyways, that's not a very big concept. It's a very, very smaller concept. Once you understand these two, it'll be easy for you to automate those things. Yeah,
Perfect. And
you can insert that as well.
my only concern would be like not having a coding knowledge or coding background.
Hardik, can I tell you something? Very frankly, I
Yeah.
know JavaScript and I'm not very much good in coding. I know that language. I know only 5% to 7% of that language.
Okay.
I have worked in SAM projects nearly for 3 years. In projects, I have hands-on experience on projects especially. So most probably 95% you don't get anything with involves coding or scripting. You need to understand the concept. So once you understand the concept, you can do this. It will be like a piece of cake for you. SAM will be like a piece of cake for you. SAM and ham. Okay. So you don't have to worry about any, scripting parts, but on the safer side, try to try to start learning JavaScript. I'm not talking this will impact the training, but it won't impact the training. But for your own sake, I'm trying to letting you know that as you need to know, you need to grab more technical knowledge. You need to get through JavaScript more, because there are certain models like SAM, GRC, and I believe performance analytics as well. They doesn't have any scripting. I mean, they don't have any scripting knowledge, and they don't require much scripting knowledge. But when you take ITOM, when you take ITSM, you need to have certain scripting knowledge to do this. So anyways, it's a safer side for you to learn it.
Are we teaching it?
I'm sorry.
Are we teaching JavaScript?
No, I'm not teaching that, but I'm just saying, if you want to learn maybe in the future, you need to have those JavaScript knowledge. So anyways, if you start working on it from now on, it'll be easy for you to grab things easily.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So any
Um,
other questions, Bindu and Hardik?
Not exactly questions, but I think we'll also be covering the report and the metrics part as well, no?
Yeah,
And
it will be
how to
coming
improve the
under the
software asset
topics.
services to end users and creating standards and process for managing the software assets. I think everything will be covered or not.
Yes, everything will be getting covered.
Okay.
I mean, we'll start with normally all the topics, and we will be having the practical sessions for each and everything. As you said, the metrics, standards, for everything we'll have a practical session. I'll be letting you know how to do how to go with the metrics, how to create a standard, everything in a lab session. And I'll be giving you certain tasks when I finish up the session. I want you to take that labs and task as a serious consideration and do it as well, so that it will be easy for you. Because in the training session, when I do the lab, it will be easy for you to understand, but when you do it directly by yourself, you'll be having a lot of queries and it's not easy. So when
Yeah.
you start doing it, when you have a lot of queries, you can learn a lot of things out of software asset management. And if you ask me, I mean, if you guys ask me more questions, I'll be happy to answer you as well, because it's a like learning for both for you and as for me.
I don't want to like take a lot of your time, but I think you got my concept right since you already worked on the SAM project. Basically, we are starting the SAM project now in our organization. So it's like
Okay.
pretty much I'm going to work on there are just 2 or 3 people, and where I'll be playing the developer part. So, like what developer needs to know, right? From scratch to
Yes.
the ending. I should be able to set up complete instance and complete process. Yeah, that is my
All right. All right.
requirement.
No problem, Bindu. I'll take care of it. Don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Anyways, once
So
you
off
start
that
with,
track,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, please, please
Yeah,
proceed.
yeah, yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. I was going to go off the track, but please complete what you were telling.
I mean, what was it? I mean, in a sense, when I started like software asset management, I know a little bit about discovery. I know a little bit about CMDB, but software asset management is completely different from discovery or CMDB. So, my tough concepts are like in modules. My tough modules are in ServiceNow or ITSM, ITBM, certain things like that. I have certain things as tough models, because you'll be having a favorite subject and you'll be having your
Yeah,
most
sure.
disliked subject as well, right? So
Yeah.
my most no, not disliked subject, my most tough subject will be ITSM. I think you are working in ITSM for 4 years, then it will be easy
Yeah.
for you to very much easy for you to grab SAM and HAM.
Okay.
I mean, my opinion is this, because you don't have any coding here, you just have to understand the concept and you need to implement that. And I'll be letting you know things by implementing directly, I mean by me implementing that in the instance, and I'll be giving you task for you to implement that as well. So once you get out of this training, you'll be having all those knowledge, but I want you to keep in touch with all those tasks and all those things, so that it'll be easy for you to cope up with whenever projects come in. Because when we trade in for a month or so, when maybe when we get busy with other works, maybe for a month or so, then it'll be like when you see it, I mean when you see software asset management, it'll be like a new topic for you. That's why I
Yeah.
want to we want to keep in touch every time. That's why I want to give you task. I just don't want to like get you into those things, and I just want to give you task directly. So once you take the task seriously and do something out of it, then it'll be easy for you to learn those things, and you can learn even more when you start working on it practically.
Okay.
Yeah, you are about to say
Yes.
something.
Yeah. Coming to the off topic, like what are the domains you worked mostly on, Balaji?
uh, Mostly I work on discovery, service mapping,
Okay.
CMDB, and yeah, I mostly work on like moreover most of the modules, GRC, SecOps. You
Oh,
can talk
okay.
you can talk with Nilima regarding it,
So,
and I'll be happy to help.
Bharat, it's Hardik here. After this one, are we able to complete this sysadmin course or sysadmin certification or fundamental certification?
I mean, after this course,
Yeah, or maybe during, what do you recommend?
this course is
I think
completely related.
yeah, Karen. Yeah.
Yeah, this course is completely related to SAM and HAM. Software asset, I mean, when you talk about certifications, you need to go for fundamentals, ServiceNow fundamentals. You need to be very much thorough with the fundamentals, and you need to be I mean having hands-on experience with the fundamentals things as well. So once you have an hands-on experience and you are very much thorough about theoretical knowledge in fundamentals, then you can clear the CSA exam. That's not an tough part, but that is not related to software asset management. Software asset management is completely different. So CSA, it's system administration.
It's like an entrance exam for service now.
Yeah, it's a system administration exam. So it's like when you know ServiceNow fundamentals, you can clear those exams. That is not related to SAM. Okay.
Okay. And how
Clear?
long this course will be like? Will that be every weekdays or weekend or?
You can talk to Nilima regarding it. We can work according to the timings which you're comfortable with. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
At a
Alright,
stretch,
Bindu.
how many hours is this training going to take, Balaji?
So you are asking
Duration.
about duration of this training?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like mostly 15 to 18 hours.
Okay. Okay. And we'll have the activity session separately, right? Like in end of
No,
every
we'll be
training, they'll
having
give
the
us some
activity sessions
activities.
every day.
Okay.
Yeah, every day we'll be having practical sessions only.
Okay.
Yeah, because software asset management, you don't have to teach like more about theoretical. You can understand some things in theoretically, but when you do practically, you have like certain difficulties. So I want like my trainees to get in practical. I mean, get those practical knowledge directly. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Bindu and Dick, you have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah, and regarding the regarding the timings, regarding the training part, you can talk to Nilima, and you can just confirm that with Nilima, and we can work on the train like timings you're comfortable with as well. Okay.
Sure.
Sure, Balaji.
Yeah. Yeah, Hardik, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to go through the JavaScript, we can give you the one class of the JavaScript also. No worries at all if you required.
Yes, that's sort of. I mean, I was confused or I was concerned. Like, uh, I understand all this theoretical part. I even understand complete software and hardware asset management life cycle. But that is from, a product owner point of view or business analyst point of view, which I have worked at. And when it comes to, practical, when it works on the, module, when he says hands-on training, live training, I'm just concerned. I mean, do I require those technical knowledge, or it would be really, I mean, appreciate if we cover that part as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, Balaji, I think we can end the session.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Balaji.
Adik.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Bindu. Yeah.
Thanks, Bala.
Thank you, Balaji. And this was very innovative session. In fact, yeah.
Thank you. See you in the training, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.